online on Zoom for the last day of last evening of this class or discussions on 37 practice of Bodhisattvas. So again, I would like to start like yesterday. Try to make yourself comfortable, relaxed. And feel the weight of your body, cushions or the chair. And as you breathe in and out naturally, try to keep your mind watching the breath mindfully and being aware of coming and going of the breath. And once your mind is quiet and settled, try to generate good intention. For example, we can think the purpose of my life is to be as much help and benefit, not only oneself, but to all sentient beings. In order to be more help and benefit to other sentient beings and yourself, we need to have more compassion, more wisdom, and become more enlightened. And in order to become more wise, more kind, compassion, more enlightened, we need to meditate and practice to improve and increase those inner qualities, positive qualities. And for that, we have to be reminded of the practice all the time so that we don't forget. So we continue to apply in our everyday life. And that is why we have come here together to listen. So we can be reminded of the importance of cultivating love, compassion, bodhicitta, wisdom, and all those positive inner qualities. So we can continue to practice. May us here coming together to listen, to reflect, to contemplate. May all of this become cause and conditions to achieve our highest potential, the fully awakened state, so we can be not only help and benefit, but greatest help and benefit. And not only for few, but for all sentient beings, all living beings. Okay, so then we can do the dedications. I mean, refuge and I take refuge until I'm enlightened in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Supreme Assembly. By my merit of generosity and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit transmigrated beings. Sangye Sherab Sogi Shonam La Chanchu Padu Dane Kapsuchi Dagi Jin Sangye Pe Sonam Ki Dola Penje Sangye Dubai Sho Sangye Sherab Sogi Shonam Chanchu Padu Dane Kapsuchi Dagi Jin Sangye Pe Sonam Dola Penje Sangye Dubai Sho Kanye do jenye sone ta dam je ma me se ta be chene de ko dam de la cha sa. So yesterday we kind of discussed a little bit how to about the two different technique of meditation to cultivate the altruistic intention to improve the increase the altruistic intention of the bodhicitta mind. And we also discussed how we can transform whatever challenging, difficult, painful situations, circumstances, or whenever we encounter any kind of difficult people, challenging people, how can we transform all of them into something positive, something in the path, not allowing our mind to be disturbed by such individual and such situations. Instead, trying to keep our mind calm, peaceful, even in such difficult times. And not only to keep a calm and peaceful mind, but, cultivating even more love, compassion, and responding instead of with anger, responding with love and compassion. So we kind of discuss with the different description or different situations and different kind of difficult people. And next one, so that is we finish out at verse number 18, and now we are today on verse number 19. And next one is transforming whatever good things happen in our life, not only the bad things, but whenever good things happen in our life, how can we also transform that something into virtues, something into a path, so therefore we learn whatever happens in our life, good, bad, easy, difficult, happy, painful, no matter what happened, whatever arises, whatever situation, experiences arises, we always try to, through our practice, we always try to transform them, to the path to increase and improve our virtuous mind. So here in the verse number 19, though you become famous and many bow to you, so even though even though you become very famous, have a great reputation, very well known, and everyone bows to you, everyone respects you, everyone praise you, everyone likes you, or and also you gain riches in equal to Vajravanas, So not only that, and then you become very wealthy, very rich, become one of the most richest persons, millionaire, billionaire, trillionaire, like that, Even when we have all of that, normally when we have all these things, if we don't really work with our mind, it's easy to be diluted, polluted by such power, fame, and money. It's easy to change out the persons, So again, being very mindful of that and not allowing that, and how by seeing, see the world, fortune is without essence, and don't be conceited. This is the practice of Bodhisattva. So then, not allowing yourself by such fortune and good things that happen in your life, not allowing that to make you arrogant, not allowing that to increase your sense of ego, feeling I'm more superior than others due to all of that, feeling others are less than me because they don't have same as me I have. So not allowing, because if we are not mindful, if we don't apply that practice teaching, it's very easy when those things happen to increase our ego and become sense of, arrogant, and we do that by seeing all of this, whatever I have. In real, there is no essence. They are temporary, comes, goes. Nothing's permanent. By knowing, wealth, I might have all this wealth, it might be gone tomorrow. Something can happen, all can be gone. I can have good reputation today, I might have bad reputation today. I might be known very well now, tomorrow I might be very respected today, I might be very disrespected tomorrow. And we see that in the world, how that changed. One instance, one information, one news can set everything up and down. So with that kind of understanding, and not getting so attached to them, not getting so grasping to them, and not allowing, instead, when we have that, we recognize that things are going well for me at the moment, even though it's temporary, you never know, but I'm grateful, thankful, being appreciated, grateful about that. And then, dedicating and praying that may everyone has good fortune like myself. Not everyone has same fortune like myself at this moment. May everyone have, good health as I have. May everyone has, good family as I have. May everyone has great wealth as I have at the moment. May everyone has great fame as I have. May everyone has, great respect. So whatever positive things that is happening, good things happening, you can kind of recognize that and be grateful, and then, wishing everyone to have that, praying, dedicating, and wishing everyone to have that. So in that way, then you try to make it more meaningful and virtuous. Okay. And next two are transforming the emotions, negative emotion into something virtuous. Verse number 20. So about anger. While the enemy of your own anger is unsubdued, though you conquer the external foe, they will only increase. So again, as long as there is this internal enemy of anger, there is always going to be external enemy. There's no end to external. Even you live place, there's no one to disturb you. Still, you will get upset and angry. With the wind, with the sound of the water, with the singing of the birds, with the smell of the plant. When your mind is disturbed, agitated by such emotions, anything can, trigger you. It doesn't have to be another being there. And so therefore that wind become your enemy. That sound of water become your enemy. The sound of singing of the bird become your enemy. So therefore, on the other hand, when you have no more enemy of this inner enemy of anger, someone can be very nasty to you, unkind to you, but it doesn't hurt you so much. It doesn't, they can do whatever they do, they can say whatever, but your mind is not disturbed, agitated, and hurt. And when your mind is not disturbed, agitated, and hurt, there are no more enemy for you. Regardless what they do, from your side, there are no enemy. So there is no more enemy once you have destroyed the internal enemy, of anger. And therefore, Shantideva said same thing. He give an example, if you live in a bush, an area where there's full of thorny bushes, and if you try to protect yourself by covering with the leather all over there, is impossible, it's too big. But practical small great solutions, wear a small shoes, leather shoes, you don't have to cut all of them, it can protect you. Same way, the way to protect from all the enemy is protect from that inner enemy. If you try to protect from that inner enemy of anger, then the others does not become anger. You are protected from that. So that is where. And how can we do that? Therefore, with the militia of love and compassion, subdue your own mind. This is the practice. And the way to reduce such anger, resentment, and hatred is by cultivating love and compassion. The love and compassion is the antidote. The love and the compassion is the remedy for such unsubdued mind of such as anger, resentment, and hateful mind, ill will feelings. So that is and when you are under the influence of love and compassion, then your mind is much more peaceful, undisturbed, unagitated. And also in Lojong, one of the mind training is, also when any of those emotion arises, even we don't want to get angry, sometimes we get angry. Condition comes, and then we have no control of our mind, we lost control of mind, and we get upset and angry, agitated, all of that. When that happens, recognize, I'm agitated now, I'm up, anger is arising, or hatred is arising now. And recognize how painful it is. With that understanding, then we also try to see, how there are so many beings who doesn't want to get angry, but they cannot control. Condition comes and control, anger take over them, control over them. They don't want to get upset, hateful, but then certain conditions comes and then they cannot stop from having those negative feelings, thoughts. And because of those negative feelings and thoughts, they are suffering so much. And they are creating so much negative karma as well. So with that understanding, with your own experience, and then you try to feel compassion for them. What it is like to be when you are in that state of mind, how painful it is. And then, wishing them, to be free from all the anger, all the agitated mind, And if possible, you can do Tonglen and take their anger on yourself. Give them the love and compassion, sending them the love and compassion, taking their anger on yourself. You can, even we cannot do the Tonglen, take more. At least, as mentioned yesterday, the lighter versions, by me experiencing this anger, may no one have to experience such anger. May I be able to experience on behalf of everyone, so no one has to go through such painful negative emotions. So that, and next is verse number 21, and that is transforming the attachment, another negative emotions, disturbing negative emotions. Sensual pleasure are like a salt water. The more you indulge, the more thirst increase. So, sensual pleasure or attachment basically is the attachments. It's like that. When you follow the attachments, it can never lead you to true satisfactions. Attachment can never lead you to true satisfactions. Attachment is like when you're thirsty, in order to quench the thirsty, you drink a salty water. For a moment, you feel like your quench has been, quench, but then after some time you started to feel more thirsty. It's only momentary, then you feel more, you need more and more. It never leads to saying not feeling quench anymore, or not thirsty anymore by drinking that. Such is the attachment. Temporarily, at the very beginning, it seems like attachment gives you some sense of pleasure, little pleasure. But, it make you like that thirsty, wanting more, and never lead to satisfactions. So in order to find satisfaction in your life, to find a satisfaction in your life, and if you follow the attachment, that will never lead to the result that you are looking for. It's just like trying to quench the thirst by drinking salty water. Therefore, abandon at once those things which bred clinging attachments. This is the practice of Bodhisattva, and therefore try to not to have that kind of grasping, clinging attachment. Try to let go of the attachments without holding on them. As well as the objects that give rise to those attachments, trying to keep distant from the object that give rise to those attachments. At the very beginning, when we don't have a tool to deal with the attachments, the best is to keep distant from the object that give rise to the attachments. And as you train yourself, and when you have better tools, better practice, meditations, then you don't have to distance yourself from the object, because you have the skill, the practice to deal with that. Even attachment, even though you are, even you meet the object of attachment, it doesn't give rise to attachments. Or even if it arises, you have the meditation practice to kind of reduce that and destroy that. So the way to find true satisfaction is not by following attachment, by following the sense of contentment. the contentment is the, we can say, remedy for the attachments. Always feeling not enough, wanting better and more and more. That is a dissatisfied mind. That's a discontent mind. That is the attachments. No matter how much we have, we always feel that we need more, better all the time. But once you find the content, then you are as happy. You are happy wherever you are, whatever you have, many, less, you will be able to find joy and happiness wherever you are, in whatever situation you are. Otherwise, by following the attachment, we will never be able to reach that point. And same like the anger, same, in the mind training, is same thing with the attachments also, when there is attachment arising, recognize, attachments arising, and due to that attachment, how unhappy, how dissatisfied I am because of that, and the pain of that. And then recognizing also there are so many other beings who doesn't want to get attached, but again, cannot control attachments due to past imprint, due to immediate cause and condition. Attachment, desire just arises. Even they don't want. And because of those desire and attachment, they suffer so much. And then understanding their suffering because of your own experience, and you yourself is going through that. And then again, wishing them to be free from all those attachment, desire, wishing them to. And then, by me experiencing this attachment and desire and the suffering from that, may no one have to experience such attachment and desire. May I self be able to experience on behalf of them. And if you can, then also do the tonglen, taking their attachment yourself, giving them sense of contentment. So that way, again, we apply that. And next one is meditating on the, the ultimate Bodhisattva, or the emptiness. And within that, meditating on emptiness in meditative equipoise or in meditative state, and then post-meditative state of sessions. So 20 seconds, whatever appear to your mind, whatever appear to your mind, whether it's external object, whether it's internal object, any phenomena, whatever object that appear to your mind, they all are empty of inherent nature. Even though they appear to exist inherently from objective side, but if you analyze deeply, they are empty of inherent nature. Your mind from the start was free from the fabricated extreme. Not only the objects that appear to your mind, even the subject, the mind itself, even the mind, the subject to which the object appears, even the mind itself is also empty of inherent nature. Even that is empty of inherent nature. Understanding this, do not take the mind inherent sign of subject and object. This is a practice that Bodhisattvas. And then meditating on the emptiness of the subject and objects. How the objects, all the objects that appear to the mind and subject, the mind itself, both of them are totally empty of existence from its own side, existing by itself, or its own power or inherent existence. And so then, meditating on that, the emptiness of all phenomena, the subject and objects. And that wisdom relies on the emptiness. become the most powerful remedy to get rid of all the delusions, to cut all the delusions. And the very root of all the delusion, the ignorance. And then next one is, how can we apply that into post-meditation when you encounter objects? When you encounter attractive objects, though they seem beautiful, from its own side, but if you analyze, there is no beautiness from its own side objectively. There's no inherent beauty. There's no inherent beauty in that object. Even though to our mind, it appears the objects, that attractive object, to have that beautiness from its own side, but when you analyze deeply, there's no real inherent beautiness in that object. There's no inherent beauty or beauty from its own side. So it's like a rainbow in summer. Don't regard them as real. And give up attachments. The attachments arise because there is appearance of the objects as a very attractive, beautiful. And then not only there is appearance, then we perceive there's real beauty from its own side, objectively. On the basis of that, then we have attachment to that objects. But when you meditate and think and realize there's no real beautiness from its own side, there's no inherent beautiness, from its own side, objectively, so then you don't have some grasping and clinging to the object, and thereby not strong attachment to that object. And so example giving is like the rainbow in the summer. The rainbow, if you look from distance, sometimes when the rainbow is very clear, distant it feels quite concrete and very real. If you go closer and closer, then the colors, you don't see the same color that you see from the distance. It's not the same, So similar like that, the way it appears from the distance, and when you are closer, the way it exists is a different, And so appearance and the way thing exists is a difference. Through that, understanding the emptiness of the attractive objects, then we give up and we encounter the attachments that arises due to that. Next, 24. All the forms of suffering are like child dead in a dream, holding illusory appearance to make you weary. Again, meditating whenever there's pain, sufferings. When we encounter any kind of pain, sufferings, difficulties, problems, remember, the pain, the problem, the suffering, the challenges, the obstacle, even though they feel so real at the moment, even though they feel so real, so concrete and so real, reminding ourselves that's only the appearance, and that is only how we feel it. And the appearance, based on certain appearance, that's how we feel it. But in reality, if you analyze deeply, that problem, that pain, that suffering, that obstacle do not exist inherently as it appears. It does not exist as real as we appear in the way we feel at the moment. They are just like they are like illusory. A magician creating some kind of illusions, even though there's appearance of something, but in real, there's not that way. It's just a trick It's just a deceptions. And same in the dream. In the dream we might have a dream of death of child, and you might be very sad and grieve and lost. But when you realize it's just a dream, it's not real, then all the grief, the pain is no more there. The grief and pain is no more there. Once you realize it's just a dream, it's not real. Similarly, we feel so real, therefore, we experience all this pain so much. But once we are able to remind ourselves, all of this is just like a dream. It's just like a illusions. Things do not exist the way it appears to our mind. The things do not exist the way we feel in that moment, And therefore, when you meet with disagreeable circumstances, unwanted or undesirable circumstances, pain, sufferings, problem, obstacles, whatever, see them as an illusory. And this is a practice of Bodhisattva. And when you are able to see, when you are able to feel and see that way, then you don't have the same. It doesn't disturb your mind, agitate your mind, make you upset and angry by such circumstances. Because you see, it's all like an illusion, it's all like a dream. In the dream, your friend is trying to kill you. Once you realize it's just a dream, you don't get any upset and angry with that person. You just know it's just a dream. If you are not aware it's a dream, then you could get upset and angry. And same, all these situations make us upset, disturbed, agitated, angry, make us very painful, all of that, because we see them, we are unable to see them as like a dream or illusory, but instead see them as so real. So that is the practice of Bodhisattvas. And so then next, it is the practice of six paramita or six perfections. That is the Bodhisattva's practices. The Bodhisattva conduct or the practice is engaged in the practice of six paramita. And so next, the practice of paramita of generosity. When those who want enlightenment must give their own body, there's no need to mention external things. Therefore, without hope for return or any fruition, give generously. This is the practice of Bodhisattva. So, as we train, or anyone who is interested in both a path, and when they train on that path, in order to achieve, fully enlightened, then you have to perfect all six of these paramita. And to perfect the generosity, you should be able to give anything without any hesitations, without any grasping. That means even your body, even your life. Eventually, but it is not saying that we have to start giving body now. There's a huge difference. It has the right time, according to your practice. And if Lama Tsongkhapa make a very clear distinction in Lamrim, when in very detail, what to give, what not to give, when to give, when not to give, we have to realize all of that. When you are still, on the path, even you are Bodhisattva, still at the very beginning, you are not encouraged to give your body. But when you reach certain level, path of seeing, then giving even body is not a big thing for them. because of the incredible bodhicitta mind and because of the realization of emptiness directly. So they don't feel same pain, physically same pain like we feel. If I give my body, I will feel so much pain, you know. And when you have that so much pain, you are not encouraged to do that because that pain will overwhelm you. You know, you wouldn't be able to practice well, you know, and you might regret later. All of that can happen. So you start with something you can do, easy, something you can manage. And slowly, we try to increase, you know, be able to give bigger and more, slowly. And as I mentioned, when you reach part of seeing, as also Shantideva says, you know, they reach a time when you, in your path realization, even chopping of your body, you feel like chopping a vegetable. Just meaning you don't have the same pain like we feel. When you chop the vegetables, you don't feel the pain. So even when you're chopping your even flesh, when you need to give, you wouldn't feel so much of pain. It's like it is like chopping. In that, when you have reached that point, then you can give. Then you wouldn't regret. You wouldn't have that overwhelmed by that pain and all of that. And the reason is, you know, is the power of the mind. Sometimes we underestimate the power of the mind. You know, sometimes we underestimate the power. When you reach certain point, your mind is so powerful because of such incredible bodhicitta and wisdom, life, emptiness. By the power of that mind, you know, it totally overwhelms your physical sensations. And so you wouldn't feel even the physical sensations such as pain. So that is just because here, when you see something like that, then you might, you know, even body, but it is only when you have reached those points. And so whatever small generosity, according to our level, whatever we try to practice generosity as much as we can. And when we practice the generosity, we try to practice with the best intentions, you know, without any kind of expectation in return, you know, expecting others to acknowledge your help, expecting others to, you know, like you, happy with you, you know, expecting for some kind of return in this life or return in future life as being rich in the future life, for example. You know, you practice generosity because you want to be rich in such motivation, then it doesn't become bodhisattva practice, pure bodhisattva practice. So therefore, you know, that is where it says, without hope for return in this life and any fruition in the futures, you know, of such as in order to get more rich in the future, for example, the motivation. Instead, by purely wanting to help and benefit sentient beings out of love and compassion, without any hesitation, without any clinging. So we practice the generosity. Next is the practice of moral, the paramita or ethical discipline. Without ethic, you can't accomplish your own well-being. So without moral ethic or, you know, ethical discipline, moral discipline, you can't even achieve, you know, your own highest well-being, such as liberations, arhat. We cannot achieve that. In order to achieve arhat, you know, your own highest level, your own individual well-beings, you need to have practice of, you know, theory trainings, ethical discipline, material concentration, and wisdom. Without all these things, you know, if you miss any of them, or there's no way you can achieve. So without that, you cannot achieve your own well-being. So wanting to accomplish others is laughable. So then, you know, wanting to achieve the well-being of all sentient beings. When you cannot achieve your own well-being without that ethic, wanting to achieve well-being of all sentient beings is not possible, is almost like laughable. And so in order to achieve the highest well-being of all sentient beings and to achieve enlightenment, your highest potential, then such ethic discipline is even more needed, Therefore, without any worldly aspiration, safeguard your ethical discipline. And therefore, without any worldly aspirations, or worldly motivations, by thinking, if I practice ethical discipline, again, people will like me, people will respect me, or, people will think I'm a good practitioner, or maybe, just to have a worldly, some better samsara rebirth, and all of that, then again, these all are worldly motivations. And then again, it doesn't become true Bodhisattva's ethical disciplines. And so therefore, to become a true ethical discipline of Bodhisattva, the motivations, intention should always be for the benefit of all sentient beings. For the benefit of all sentient beings. The intention should always be that, for the benefit of all sentient beings. And so with that, the wish to be benefit to all sentient beings, the wish to achieve enlightenment for the benefit of all sentient beings, then engage in the ethical discipline. Okay, yeah. Then the next is the practice of patience, paramita. The two bodhisattvas who want the wealth of virtues, who want the wealth of virtues, who want to achieve, all the spiritual high realizations, path, bhumis, and to achieve, the highest virtues of, highest level of love, compassion, bodhicitta, wisdom, and enlightenment, those who harms are like precious treasures. Therefore, towards all cultivate patience without hostility. This is the practice of bodhisattvas. So again, as we mentioned a little bit yesterday, just as if you find a precious treasure, you will appreciate so much. You will hold it very dearly. You will value it so much. You value it so much, you hold it very dear, you will protect it very well. In the same way, for true practitioners, true bodhisattvas and bodhisattva practitioners, they don't regard, they don't regard those who harm you as an enemy. They don't regard those who try to harm you not as an enemy, object of hostility, but instead they hold them as very precious, very dear. Because as we mentioned, because they understand those beings through their such harmful actions, it provides you the opportunity to practice the patience. It provides you the opportunity to practice the patience. And you can only perfect it, only you practice. If you don't practice, there's no way you can perfect it. And you can only practice if there's opportunity to practice. If there's no opportunity, you wouldn't practice. And therefore, for those who progress because they practice, and they're perfect, and they progress, and because they practice, and they practice because they were given opportunity to practice. And therefore, they regard such actions with such being with such actions as a great source of practice, path, and very dear, very precious. So instead of getting hostility and angry, they regard very highly for their spiritual progress, and gain. And as I mentioned, when we don't have anyone, creating that situation, we might think we are quite patient until someone comes and, trying to be hostile, and then we will know how we respond, how we feel. Otherwise, we might feel I'm quite patient, And I have a friend. He used to be monk, but not monk anymore. He went to Australia, and then he got a job in taking care of in the old age home. And he also mentioned, before that he thought he was quite patient in general. But once he started working there, then he noticed he wasn't as patient because too much demanding, and because some people have problem with the mind, they started to yell, they started to say all kind of things. Or some people are mentally not stable, in that state, And so instead of appreciating your help, sometimes they will say all kind of nasty things, And so then he noticed his mind get disturbed, agitated, and noticed that he wasn't as patient as he thought he was. So that helped him to understand his own practice, in terms of patience, And so because of that awareness, now he's more aware of that, and he's making more effort to not get disturbed and agitated by that, thinking differently, from what the teaching says. And through that, he's able to work with his mind and get better at that, because now he's putting into practice, because he was given that opportunity, And so therefore, for such, then it becomes really like a precious treasure, something you regard very precious, valuable, highly. And then the practice of paramita, of joyous effort or enthusiasm in virtues. Seeing even hidden solitary realizers, those who are on the path to arhat, individual liberation, who accomplish only their own good, whose main goal is to free themselves from this endless suffering and samsara, and to achieve their own individual liberations. And to achieve that goal, their spiritual goal, start as if to put a fire on their head, If there is a fire on your head, you will try to put it off as soon as possible, put all the effort. There's no time to be lazy. Do you get it? You wouldn't say, oh, I can take later. The fire is burning here, and then you say, oh, let me think about this. Maybe let me take about 1 hour. Maybe today evening, maybe tomorrow. You wouldn't postpone that way. You wouldn't, you immediately try to put effort, immediately try to put it off, And such is the perseverance of those who are on path to arhat. Even if they put so much effort, then for those who are on the Bodhisattva path, who are aspiring to be Bodhisattva, then they have to put even more effort. And so for the sake of all beings, make enthusiastic effort, the source of all good quality. This is a practice. So even if you are working for your own happiness, if you have to put that much effort, then when you are working or engaging in your path to work for the benefit of all sentient beings, then one has to put the enthusiasm even much more stronger, much more bigger towards the practice, towards the Dharma. And because such joyous effort or enthusiasm in the virtues is the root of, all the positive qualities, root of all the positive qualities. As Chandrakirti, one of the great Indian masters, said, all the positive qualities, comes after or from the enthusiasm or joyous effort in the virtues. And next, meditative concentrations. Understanding that disturbing emotions are destroyed by special insight with calm abiding. So by understanding how all those disturbing emotions, such as anger, hatred, attachment, jealousy, pride, ignorance, all of them, how they come from, all arises from the, fundamental ignorance. And if we want to destroy all this delusion, we have to destroy the very root of all those delusions, all these disturbing emotions. And that is through the fundamental ignorance of self-grasping. The only remedy to destroy that self-grasping ignorance completely is, through the special insight, the wisdom relies on the emptiness, supported by the calm abiding or meditative concentration. Samadha, through such understanding, then, cultivate concentration which surpasses the four formless absorption. This is the practice of Bodhisattvas. So it is mentioned, the best concentrations among the 8 stages of concentration is the fourth one. That is more kind of these formless absorptions are too subtle, and so and then others one live to grow. So that's what it says. Surpasses the four formless absorption means in the fourth absorptions of the form is the best concentrations. And so through develop such concentration, and through having developed such concentration, then you develop calm abiding. Through the calm abiding, then you cultivate the special insight. And through the calm abiding special insight, then you destroy the very root of all the afflictive emotions, and thereby destroy the afflictive emotion. And next is the paramita of wisdom. Since the 5 perfections, without the wisdom, so the just mention 5 perfections or paramitas: generosity, moral discipline, patience, joyous effort, meditative concentration. All of these, without the wisdom, cannot bring perfect enlightenment. Without wisdom, even you have all other practice. Of course, it's a great practice. Those are very powerful practice. Those are very virtuous practice. It will bring you a lot of benefit, but at the same time, it wouldn't, cannot lead you to perfect enlightenment, because you cannot destroy the obscurations. Therefore, along with the skillful means, cultivate wisdom. So, therefore, we try to practice, the wisdom and the skillful means together, going together, 2 wings. As Chandrakirti said, the 2 is like the 2 wings of the bird, to cross the oceans of the samsara to the shore of fully enlightenment. You need the both wings, the skillful means, the method, and the wisdom. And so the 5 earlier paramitas are part of the skillful means, and the wisdom is the wisdom. So therefore, we have to cultivate both wisdom and the method, which does not conceive the 3 sphere as real. This is a practice, and the wisdom wisdom realizing emptiness. And because of realization of emptiness, therefore, it does not conceive the three spheres as the real, the objects, the act, the object of the act, and the subject, all of them, seeing as not inherent existing, not as a real. And then, some of the other practice, in training your mind, what you need to. If you do not examine your own error, you may look like a practitioner, but not act as one. If we don't really be honest with ourselves, and if we don't examine ourselves honestly, then from outside, it might feel like we are the practitioner, And even not only practitioner, we might look like good practitioner. But if we really examine deeply, maybe we might not be a great practitioner as we think, So other people can think you are a good practitioner because they can be deceived, because they might not understand everything of yourself. But because you know yourself, you cannot, So therefore, it's important to examine ourselves, Therefore, always examine your own error. Rid yourself of them. This is a practice. Therefore, here, instead of pointing others, examining and pointing others' defect and problems, instead of always pointing the finger outside, here is saying it's better to point the finger inside. It's better to look inside yourself. Better to examine yourself instead of examining others all the time. That is what we do, Oh, that person is so arrogant. Oh, that person is so stingy. Oh, that person is so mean. Oh, that person is this and that. We examine others so often, all the time. And when someone says, oh, you are not kind, compassionate, we get offended. So again, here, it's saying, look in yourself. Examine yourself instead of examining others. And if you find we have certain weakness, through examining ourselves, if we find we have certain weakness, certain fault, certain defect, recognize them, identify them, try to work with them so that we can have less so we can have less of those weaknesses, so we can have less of those defect, faults, so that it allows us to work with that. At the moment, we always examine others, we don't examine ourselves, and then we never work with ourselves because we don't even identify. We are not even aware and identify our own faults. And so therefore, you don't feel like I need to work on that. Our focus is always outside, not inside. So that is the way it's saying. If through the influence of disturbing emotion, you point the fault of another Bodhisattva. So here he's saying, do not try to examine, look for the faults of others. Always do not look for the faults of others. Do not examine others' fault all the time, If we do that, you might even find the faults and point the faults of another Bodhisattva. And if you do that, you yourself will diminish, your own virtues get destroyed. Your own goodness become diminished. So don't mention the faults of those who have entered the great vehicle. So therefore, don't try to point the faults of other Bodhisattvas. And not only bodhisattvas, even other beings, any beings. Of course, when you try to point the faults of bodhisattva, is more stronger negative karma. And especially, someone who have dedicated their life for the well-being of other sentient beings, the bodhisattvas, through your pointing all these faults, if they become discouraged, if they give up their practice, it becomes very, very powerful negative karma. And so that we don't want to discourage someone. It's very hard to find anyone totally dedicating their life for other beings. It's very hard to have any bodhisattvas, And then by us pointing their faults, and then if they get discouraged and if they give up and if they lose their love, compassion, bodhicitta mind, then it is lost for everyone. It's very strong negative karma. And not only bodhisattvas, again, there's no need to talk about others' faults. No need to discuss about others' faults. Unless, it's really, you have to give your opinion because of certain situations, then that is one thing. It's just giving your opinions, because as a part of a group, as part of organization, whatever, sometimes it's required. What do you think of this and that? That is different situations, but not always looking for the fault in others, trying to examine and point others' faults. We tend to do a lot, which is not healthy. And healthy for ourselves, healthy for others, is not healthy for the society. It's not healthy for anyone. It's not good for anyone. Reward and respect cause us to quarrel. So again, not learning, not being attached to the reward and respect, because if we're attached to reward and respect, then again that will become a problem. That will lead us to problem and sufferings, And how can we not be attached to the respect and quarrel? By understanding or looking the negative side of that. Do you see it? If you just only look positive side, then you get attached to it. But when you see the negative side of that, then you have less attachment. There is something good, but also there's a bad negative side as well. So when there is when regarding the object of attachment, when we have attachment, we only see the good qualities, positive qualities in that. And so the training the mind is trying to see the negative side of that. If you see the negative side of that object, then your grasp and clinging is less strong, less tight. The attachment less intense, And one way of thinking is, reward and respect cause us to quarrel, and so we quarrel, oh, you are not respectful to me, you didn't act, you treat me very respectfully, how did I treat you respectfully? I didn't do that. And then we start getting quarrel, I give you present, you didn't give me back, last Christmas, I thought I gave you a good present. And how dare you forgot this Christmas to bring any gifts? You don't care about me. You don't love me. If you love me, if you care, how come you forget about that? That's how you feel, He forgot my birthday. That surely means he doesn't care about me. He doesn't love me, So like that, And so And because we're attached to them, if you're not attached to it, you don't care. Someone remember your birthday or not birthday. Someone greet you birthday or not birthday. It means nothing. You just, if someone greet you, someone give you something nice, thank you. If someone forgot, someone or doesn't say, there's nothing personal. But when we're attached to those things, then it becomes personal. Then it becomes hurtful. And then we get in a conflict because that hurtful feelings, And such, due to such attachment, then, our studying on Dharma, hearing, studying, reflecting or thinking, meditation become decline. We get more involved in such quarrel and such running after such objects. And then we have less and less energy and time for our meditation practice. And so it started to decline. For this reason, give up attachments, to household or friends, relationship, benefactors. This is the practice of Bodhisattva. So therefore, instead of being attached for the benefactor, sponsor to give us gift, instead of others to our family, friends to respect us and all of that, give up all these attachments. And, if you don't have attachment, you don't feel so hurt when they don't give you reward gifts, when they don't treat you so respectfully, and so forth. Or if they don't behave or respond in a certain way, you don't get disturbed. If you don't get disturbed, you don't have any bad feeling. If you don't have any bad feeling, there's less cause for conflict. And our relations is better, more healthy, better. It's not driven by desire. And then harsh words, harsh words disturb the minds of others and cause deterioration in Bodhisattva contact. So again, therefore give up harsh words which are unpleasant to others. This is the practice of Bodhisattva. So Bodhisattva practice are trying to avoid anything that hurts and harm others. Any speech, any actions, any thoughts that hurt and harm others. That is the main practice of Bodhisattva. So try to avoid them as much as possible. Put effort toward to avoid. And sometimes such harsh words can be more hurtful, more destructive than sometimes even physical punishment, for certain individuals. For certain individual, the speech, hurt from the speech become even more hurtful, So again, with that understanding, we try to be more mindful of our speech, how we use our speech, trying to be more kind, more gentle, and more mindful. And then through that mindful, trying to be more kind, more gentle, using more kind, more gentle speech. Even when we have different opinion, even when we disagree, using the right speech, in the right way, the tones, how you use the tones in terms of that, and how you use the word and so forth. So giving up the harsh words. Habitual disturbing emotion are hard to stop. Though counteractions. Armed with the antidote, the guards of mindfulness and mental alertness destroy the disturbing emotion like attachment and resentment and anger and jealousy, so forth, at once, as soon as they arise. This is the practice of Bodhisattvas. So again, different disturbing negative emotions arises because of past imprint and due to coming together with different conditions, and those arises. And when they arises, immediately, catch it, be aware to mindfulness. If you are more mindful when those those disturbing negative emotions arise, you can catch it very quickly. Very quickly. If you are not mindful, those negative disturbing emotion arises and totally overtaking you. It has passed 1 hour, 2 hours, sometimes 3 days, 1 week, and you are not even aware. You are taken over by that disturbing emotions. And the longer it takes, the longer it hurts you. So, being through the introspection or alertness, always watching, through the mindfulness and introspection, always watching your thoughts, your mind. And the moment you are aware through such mindfulness, introspection mind, the moment you are aware, without any delay, you try to apply whatever remedy, meditation practice, tools you have to get rid of that, to let it go, and not to hold on that, And so that is yeah, okay. And so in brief, whatever you are doing, whether you are, sleeping or standing, walking, sitting, whether you are watching anything, whether you are interacting with someone, whether you are eating, whether you are washing, whatever activities you do throughout the day, night, ask yourself all the time, what is the state of mind? What is the state of mind? Always, what is going in my mind now? How am I? What am I thinking now? What is happening in my mind? And with constant mindfulness and mental alertness. And if you do that, then it will accomplish others' goods. And this is a practice of Bodhisattvas. And the last one, dedicating the virtues to the well-being of sentient beings by sealed by the emptiness, So dedicating the virtues for the enlightenment, for the well-being of all sentient beings, with a seal by the emptiness, which is powerful, so that it can get destroyed, when you are sealed by the emptiness. And so that is why Lama Zopa Rinpoche always lead at the end, dedications sealed by the emptiness, where he led, due to all the time matter which empty from his own side, and like that is the kind of sealing the dedication with the emptiness. To remove the suffering of limitless beings, understanding the purity of three spheres, the emptiness, and dedicate the virtues from making such effort to enlightenment, So understanding, the virtues which we are dedicating itself is empty. The dedication itself is empty from its own side. And to whom we are dedicating, the sentient being is empty from its own side. For what purpose we are dedicating to achieve enlightenment, that itself is empty of inherent nature. Through such understanding, then we dedicate. That is a practice of Bodhisattvas. And then For all those who want to train on Bodhisattva path, I've reading the 37 practices of Bodhisattva, following what has been said by the excellent ones on the meaning of Sutta, Tantra, and Treatise, the commentaries by the later masters. So he said everything that he mentioned here is based on all the teachings from the past great teachers, masters. Though not for being humble and practicing humility and humbleness, though not poetically pleasing to scholars, owing to my own poor intelligence and lacking of learning, I rely on Sutta and the words of excellence. So I think these both of practice are without either. So he says, this practice are authentic and reliable. He doesn't just make up himself, but it's based on earlier great sutras, Buddha's own teachings and masters' commentaries. Whoever has a great deal of Bodhisattva are hard to fathom for one of my poor intelligence. I beg the excellent to forgive all the faults, such as contradictions and how you say sequitors? Sequitors. What is it in sequences?
No, I'm not sure, but non sequitur it's an expression, but I'm not sure the exact meaning.
Mm-hmm.
It means that there is no contradiction.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Through the virtues from this, may all living beings gain the ultimate and conventional altruistic intention and thereby become like protected Geshe who dwell in the neither stream, nor in the world, nor in the peace. And this was written for my own and others' benefit by the monk Togme and exponent of the scriptures and reasoning in the cave in the Mulchu region. So I think so I'm going to do the kind of the oral transmission, just reading in Tibetan, the root text. Sangye Sudan Toki Sonam La, Chanju Badu Dane Kebate, Dagi Jiso Kebe Sonam Ge, Dola Penje Sangye Toki, Sangye Sudan Toki Sonam. Dagi Jiso Kebe Sonam Ge, Dola Penje Sangye Toki, Sangye Sudan Toki Sonam La, Chanju Badu Dane, Dagi Jiso Kebe Sonam, Dola Penje Sangye Toki. Geshe Lalen Sodi Ma Shukso, Namo Logi Shola Ye, Kangi Chokun, Doon Mesekan, Doye Tanla Chibu. Chibu Chunjebe, Lama Choda, Jere Segan, Tadu Kurung Kube Chat, Pende Junin Dobe Sangen, Tam Che Dubla Chunde Teyan. Te Laglen Shella Rale, Yesen Namge, Lalen Sheba Chat. Tajo Dujen, Yaga Todu, Dajan Koi for Letal, Chit. Nida Sender Yaw Mevan, Yensen Goma Gese Lalen, Yang Chola Doja Chu, Tad Yo, Daya Chola Shedan Medabar. Lando Jibe Timung Winat. Payu Gong Geshe Lalen, Yunipang Be, Yamotim, Yamo, Rimgi, Namia Maybe Gation, Tubatang Be, Churla, Nishe, Emba Ten, by Geshe Lalen, Urin Tobe, Zashi Sosot, Bebe Dube, no Z, Shubu, Lugi Dong, Namshipo, Don Boypo, say the Lurang Geshe Lalen, Kanda Dona, to some Peguche, Tosan Gombe, Chawanyam, Chamdan, Inzemeva, Guche, Tony Pangwa, Geshe Lalen, Mashiden and never say good, and they young went out the peg. Shenye Damarangi Lule Kyang, Sheba Zemba Gesen Lalen, Ryan Ho Chingway, Ho Zunra Chingway, Jigden Hai, Su Shi, Joban, Deshe Kangla Kyamna Mi Lube, Kunjo, Capto Gesen Lalen, Shindu Sogan, Ronya, Digbe Legi, Debutubes, Deshe Sola, Babian, Digbe, Namian Mi, Gesen Lalen. System de was such but use them shiggy, Jibu Churchan, Namami, Tabe, Boban, Dunya gets a la lane. Tommy doing a dollar tell and Manum Duna on the cheese, there's a tire, some go by Gazella. Duma le da de Jungle, Jobe, Sange, Shamben, Semle, Chung, they said de Shengi, Dunga, the other Gazella lane. So that do Chen Wongi, Tangi. Nor Tamche talk on top of Juna, Lutan long, Kusum Gawan, Telamo Gasla, Dala Nibachung Sem, the Kanda Dajigo, Church and Nije Onge de Divan, Dala Lemba Gasla, Kanshin Dala Minyanata, Donson Capital Sena, Tembe Sambi Lion in the Jobakes Lalan, Doman Dube, Uso Kanshi, Changni Tu, Signian Mana, Telagavishagi Dushan, Kube, Kubert Du, but is a Lalan. Dagi Bushiteva, Gambe, Mi, Dala Dashin, Tao China, Negi, Tabe, Pula, Mashindo, Taba, Zewa, get Lalan, Rana, Yamba, Membe, Kiwi, Nagion, Yenya China, Lamashindu, Kube, Danya, Chulam gets a Lalan, so a pong, Tado, Mi, Subject that don't get up young. Dogun Didun Dala, Lench, Shumami Bagas, Number thousand, Domanchi with Namdo Pui, North, Tokyo. Sibe Bejoin Momes and Kamba Bagas, Rangi, and Dalmatuna, Chu, da Churu Dao, Tools, and Pewa. They say Chamdang, Jema Win, you do get a lot in the bay, then Lanza Chuda, the Chidum Chase, and Sep Pewa. Kala Shen, Sake, Mobo, Telepon, gets a lot in Chidana, the Rangis, and Semi, the Trepet. The nation is from this Samano, Ilan, gets a lot in Yidu, Yutan Teba, and Yagi, so do is Sun Chishin. Zeba Naya, the Mamita, Sashen, gets a lot, the one of the Milan Pushida. Tuna Dembasong, Adams. Meeting can not tell me to Tubana get a lally. Chandu de Lucan Tangon, two wrong of one of the music, but they say land on the Mimi, Simadon get a lally, children me on the Medon, Sendon do about the game on it. They just see where Dumba me by children song get a lally, gave a long to the baker, la. No jetam jen in center, so they say, La Sete by Sobacumba get a lally. Rangde Bashu Benyarang go la Meso do Tara Train Ton, do Gun Train the Yundeshon, Tundu Ton Bagase Lali, Chiner de Mel Haton, Yamana Bajon, Bashan, Sumeshi, Layanta Dawai, Sunday Gumbagas Lala, Shada Meba Rochin, I, Dove Chang, the Toba Min, the Tata, the Cosmo Mid of Shada Gumbagis Lali, Rangi Tuba, Madana, Trebe So, Getumen Chese, the Chegun, the Rangi Tuba. 다음에 공원께서 나라의 님몽기께서 센터 인여발로나 다니 냠교에 태바체로 주베 강사기 예바미방께서 나라의 님고온기 편주적이 토성금에 저원이 자 셰킴다 진다키남라 차보봉원께서 나라 주무치 연신 삼투교 진가 외세 주주냠교에 대제생기 이도명 측수봉원께서 나라의 님몽kom나 님모도가 대체 기분 님을 순서는 차선 님모 당고 깨마다 부좀 제보게라래 도나강도 줄럼 제제가랑게 생긴 내가 진짜 지다시 균도 텐다 셰텐된 바 신전도 밖에서 라래 대다고 좀 배르베 겨와나 타에 도에 동아세체 코선 넘바 답에 샤라게 장중어 게서 라래 Do you think you know the song better? Tamban the song is that on and Gassan and Yellow from Joe, then say num, love the to quit, load the man, say some watching as a care like gave a too much. Do that time be song like them, Gassella and two men lay, but when you get a job of and lumen that the thing, but I say, girl down, Martel laugh on your bit shop. 담반은 미소바 제도서 델레 중앙 계획도 담군조 장주 센초게 시당 시외 탈라미네 제레세 대도 좀 제바데랑 현라 편배되는 롱다 지바마 좀바 처음에 연구줄 이제 보고도 자와오 Yeah, so now I think here I don't know what the English, but like the word that was non sequitur means in the Tibetan versions is not. Sometimes you say something which is unrelated, so it's not like that. Sometimes you might be talking something else and then you talk about something unrelated, so I think, that is the kind of the oral transmissions. I already read in both English and Tibetan because it's the Tibetan that I received. So if there is any question, I can take one and two. If there is. Yes.
I'm wondering, sometimes our ego mind makes tricks on us. So we might believe that we are on the way to becoming bodhisattvas, but then we don't realize that we still have so much self-cherishing. We think, oh, we're doing so much good. We're so great person. how do we overcome this blindness?
Mm-hmm. I think the verses that was it says that we keep examining ourselves. If we keep on examining ourselves inside deeply, then I think probably we'll know, where we really are and what we really are, so then we don't feel like, I'm Bodhisattva even when you are not, because sometimes on superficial level we might look like, not too much selfish, and all of that. But maybe if we go deeper, sometimes maybe there might be a lot of selfish, and so if we understand, so I think maybe it's all about examining yourself, deeply, honestly, and I think that might help for us to understand our own state of mind, our own state of path, our where we are and what we are, so that we don't get kind of confused and think something more than what we are, Yes. Any others? If not, then we do the dedications. So then.
Yes, we would like to offer a mandala. Should we do it now or after the dedication?
Then we can do now, and we do the short one quickly. Yeah.
Sashi perki juksing meto Ramri rablingi nire gyan padi Sange shindu mekte ulai Duku namda shingla chepaksho
Idam guru
Namantala kamniya sayami.
So we can do the dedications. Yeah. Due to these virtues, may I quickly attain the state of Guru Buddha and lead all transmigrated beings without exception into the enlightened state. Chancho sen chorin boche, ma ke panan ke gyoshe, yewa nyam pa me maya, kong le kong tu dewa, kare dawe kore shinkante, tentan dewa, chere se wan ten ten gyoshe, shabe se de pato ten gyoshe. You want to do the long life and a quick return? Yeah. You want to do maybe we just okay. You want to do this one today? Guru think of me. Guru consider me most precious root Guru. All care for me. Most precious root Guru, do not derive us of your compassionate refuge. Listen and consider this happy heartfelt prayer made by the tormented disciples. Guru embodiment of Buddhas of 3 times, please bless me. You may rest in all-pervading great bliss, equipoised within the Dhatu of uncomparative luminosity. Aid the playful dance of your loving compassion, emanate in a merited way. This time has come for the return of the swift appearance of your magical wisdom. And for you to care for once again with your affection, compassion. Arise, arise, arise from the Dhammakaya. I invoke you, I call upon you, I implore you on behalf of all things. to no rest in the or other pure land, rather to benefit the Buddha's teachings and for all living. Simply return to the southern continent to spread the Buddha's guide. Quickly return to the hideout for varied beings, such as the displaced crab or Bodhisattva. Return so that we may actually behold your practice. Seek the blessings of your body, speech, and mind. Or mistake what we have made in relation to your body, speech, and mind, spontaneous activity throughout being confused and conceiving things in a erroneous way. We confess within the luminous emptiness of your desire. Of everything auspicious, the supreme auspiciousness, may there be the auspicious emptiness and compassion. May there be the auspiciousness of timely meeting between may the unmistaken quickly. The mind, spirit of the chief sorrow, may the chief forget through the blessings of the steady of the 32 perception is object and perception is object. This good clarity success. Thank you very much. And again, we went through such a wonderful text with such a powerful practice and instructions, but also, of course, we wouldn't be able to apply all of them exactly the way it's said here. It is kind of the way to be able to put everything exactly as it is mentioned. You have to be quite high level into the Bodhisattva. So we are, as since we are still on the beginning, we'll try to apply as much as we can, whatever is available, applicable for us, whatever is something that we can immediately kind of put into the practice, we put into practice. Those more practice that which we are unable to put into practice immediately, we keep in our inspirations, so that we can be able to do that in the future. And so that is how we go about it. And so we shouldn't be, you shouldn't feel I'm such a bad practitioner because I'm not being able to put all this practice exactly as it is said. These are practice for highly bodhisattvas. And so, therefore we shouldn't kind of feel discouraged and feel bad about ourselves or our practice. And instead of being discouraged, it should inspire you, Okay, thank you.
Richard,